Now with the finesse worms are incredibly versatile and very, very popular right now. And the Z-Man finesse worms have really taken off recently because of their buoyancy and durability. When you fish a Z-Man finesse worm, what you're getting is a naturally buoyant worm that when you fish it on a head like this one, this is the buckeye head right here, and when you fish it on this is going to stand straight up. And this is going to have a lot of movement, a lot of action in the water. It's really, really hard to beat the action on these. Plus, you get the durability of an Elaztech bait, which is another big, big factor in this. And there's so many different ways to rig this. And another key factor to the Elaztech baits is they're all made in the US and they're all 100% non-toxic. So there's a lot of pluses to using a bait like this. And we're going to be showing some different ways to rig these things and just how effective each one of them is. Because when you have a bait that's this buoyant and this durable, the rigging options become wide open. So what we have is we have one rigged on this head right here. This is a goby head. We're also going to show you can actually rig them on a drop shot rig like this. This is a finesse wide gap hook, and you can nose hook it, or you can also wacky rig it, just rig it right in the center of the worm. And the advantage of rigging it this way is that it doesn't tear off. A normal plastic worm is going to rip after 1 or 2 fish. This bait will not do that. This will stay on that hook, so one fish after another, that bait's still going to be on there and still going to be viable. And that's a big advantage to have out there. And another really popular method right now is the flick it. And this is the buckeye flick it head. And what you do is you just simply wacky rig the worm like this, and you're going to be fishing them on these small heads like this, and these are really effective because with the buoyancy of this, as the head goes down, the worm's going to go up, and the action is going to be incredible on these. And then you can Texas rig it. You can straight Texas rig these worm on a bullet sinker, or you can Carolina rig this worm, and the buoyancy is going to carry this bait up off the bottom. So if you're in an area where you have a lot of grass or things like that, what you can do is you can Texas rig this, and then this is going to be floating up above the grass where it's going to be seen by the fish. A very, very effective presentation and really versatile. That's one of the things that makes these worms so effective. And with all the colors to choose from, you've got every water condition covered here. So we have the 4-inch worms, and we have 7 different colors in that 4-inch worm available to you. And then also in the 7-inch worms, we have 7 standard colors in the standard finesse. And then in addition to that, we have a series of floating worms, which is what this white one is. And the big difference between these, since they're all naturally buoyant, our floating worm contains no salt, where we put salt in our finesse worms. We put a little bit of salt in there because that salt helps neutralize some of the buoyancy and also gives it a little bit of flavor, so when that fish bites into it, they get that little taste of salt and they hang on to these worms a little bit longer. And plus, since they're nice and soft, these are a very, very soft material, the fish will naturally hold on to them anyway. But that's really the big difference between our standard finesse worm and what you'll see in our floating worms. The floating worm contains no salt at all, so it's really super buoyant. You can fish this right on the surface. Whereas the finesse worms have a little bit of salt to them, neutralizes the buoyancy just a little bit, but gives you the ability to rig them a number of different ways.